Hey YouTube, this is Lady Lux coming to you with a long overdue video. This video will be my labor and delivery video. Let's get started because I don't want this video to be too long. I had my daughter on January 7th. I know that's a long time ago. That's 2 months ago. And I'm just coming back with a video. But I had my baby on January the 7th at 4:27 in the afternoon. Now, to go into labor and delivery. For the whole month of December, I had been having contractions all month. And I kept going to the labor and delivery, and they couldn't tell me exactly why I was having so many contractions when the baby wasn't down low in the pelvis. So, skip forward to January 6th. January 6th was a Monday morning. I went to my doctor's appointment. That was my last doctor's appointment. To the doctor's appointment that Monday morning, and to get checked out because I was supposed to actually go in at 12 that day to be induced. Well, when I got to the doctor's appointment, she checked me and she said that we would not be able to go and have the induction because it was an elective surgery, and they didn't have the staff to do the procedure today for the induction. I was going to have a C-section. So I was a little disappointed because I was ready to get things over with. Lo and behold, I had another week left in my pregnancy. Supposedly, they were saying that I was 39 weeks on that day, but I was already going on my 40th week by that next day. Anyway, what happened was, after I left the doctor's appointment, she swept my membrane. So what happened, I started contracting. I was contracting every 2 to 3 minutes. I went home. She told me to go walking in the mall. So I went to the mall, me and my husband. We went walking for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Contractions were coming heavy. So my husband was like, let's go and get checked out and see if this could actually be what's going on. Because at my doctor's appointment, I was only 2 centimeters dilated and 60% effaced. So we went back to the hospital. They checked me, and there was nothing they could do because they said I was still 2 centimeters, and the baby was still way far up in the birth canal. She hadn't come down in the pelvis. She was still far up. So at this time I was frustrated. So the doctor said, go home, have sex, exercise, and hopefully you will be in labor by that night. Okay, so I came home. I exercised it as she told me to do. So 10 o'clock that night, after going all day, I've been having contractions all day long. No further than 5 minutes apart. Well, they did give me some medicine in the hospital, and it did allow me to rest. So I did rest for a couple of hours on the medicine. When it wore off, I was back in the contractions. My husband had to go to work at 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. So when he got up to get dressed for work, I was still contracting. And it gotten a little worse, but it wasn't to that point where I said, okay, I need to go to the hospital. So he went on to work. He said, you sure you don't want to go? I said, no. So he went on to work. He had to be to work at 2 o'clock. Well, let me tell you, by 3:30, 4 o'clock, by 3 o'clock, I couldn't take the pain anymore. Got up, called him, told him that I will meet him to the hospital because I'm in that much pain. I called my mom. My mom took me to the hospital, and we met him there. By the time I got upstairs and they checked me, they told me I was already 4 centimeters and I was in labor. So they got me in my room, and they got me settled down, and they said I was in a lot of pain. They were like, "Do you want an epidural?" Yes, ma'am, I want an epidural. So that's my little one. So if you did, so within the next 10-15 minutes, the anesthesiologist was there. They came, they prepped me, gave me the epidural. It took a little longer than expected because he was saying that my vertebrae in my back, they were so close together, and it was hard for him to get in between to get the epidural. But after about 20-25 minutes, we finally got the epidural going. When my doctor came in and she checked my cervix, and at that time I was already 6 centimeters. So she had to leave and go back to the hospital. I meant to the office, but her partner was there, and she said either one of them would deliver the baby. So either one of them would have come back in 30 minutes to check me again to see if I was dilated any further. But they came back like an hour later, and I was already 8 centimeters. So at this time it was like 7:30 in the morning. So the doctor said, "Well, I see that you should be having this baby at least by 9 a.m., 10 a.m." So I said, okay. My mom had left to go to her job for a little while. My husband was there, my sister was there, my brother-in-law was there, and some of my nieces and nephews. So we were sitting in the room, and I have some videos of those clips of me in the room. I'm going to add those on into a different video, but I'm going to put those clips in as well. So at 10 o'clock, the doctor came and checked me again, checked me. I went no further. I was still at 8 centimeters. So they said, okay, well, let's give her a little bit of Pitocin. But before they gave me the Pitocin, I was checked for okay, I'm back. Like I was saying, they gave me some Pitocin, but before they gave me the Pitocin, I remember when I was 28 weeks, I think it was 38 weeks or 36 weeks, they checked me for the strep B and I was negative. But when I went into the hospital, the doctor was like, we're going to still give you the antibiotic for the strep B because you had a UTI while you were pregnant. So just to be on the safe side, we're going to give you the antibiotic for the strep B. So I said, okay. So they started I think it was the penicillin. So she gave me the IV, and the penicillin, it started going into my vein. And all of a sudden, my hand is on fire. It's burning. So as she's putting it, I'm telling her, my hand is burning. My hands are burning. She was like, oh, that means it's going too fast. Let me flush it with some water. So at this point, I'm at the, you need to take this IV out because I'm burning. So when she flushed it, she started flushing it, and the burning sensation went away. So that was fine. So we went on with the penicillin. We did it, 2 bags of it. At this time, it could be about 1 o'clock. Still nothing. They gave me the Pitocin. They started me on some Pitocin. Now at this time, I already had my epidural. But let me tell you, when that Pitocin kicked in, I still was having pain from the contractions. The epidural didn't take it all the way. I've heard people saying they had the Pitocin and had the epidural and didn't feel anything. Oh, I felt some of this even though I had the epidural. So they gave me 2 rounds of the Pitocin. At this time, they started looking on film, on the computer screen, and they were seeing every time that I started having contractions, because the baby dropped. So every time I was having contractions, it was dropping her heart rate. So her heart rate was dropping every time. So after a while, they were like, well, we can't chance this anymore. We're going to have to go ahead and get you prepped for a C-section. At this time, I'm like, do what you have to do because I'm ready for this to be over with. Mind you, these contractions started ever since Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and they hadn't stopped. I'm still in contractions Tuesday, and this is after 1 o'clock in the day. So they got me ready, so they wheeled me in to have the C-section. So I went in there. They gave me some more medicine, the numbing agent. So he was like, okay, I'm going to touch you here and tell me if you feel anything. So he touched me on my legs and up on my stomach. I didn't feel anything. He touched me where they were going to do the incision, and I said, ouch. And he said, you feel that? I said, yes, I feel that. It's like you're sticking me with a pin. So they gave me more medicine. He played around places I didn't feel it. Back at the incision where he was going to go, I felt it again. He said, you still feel that? I said, yes, I still feel that. After about 10 minutes of still feeling it, he's like, well, we're going to have to give her some lidocaine at the site. So they stuck me with lidocaine there at the site, and then after that I didn't feel anything. So they proceeded with the surgery. So it took them a while before they started. So we were probably in there. I got in there into the OR around 2:30, 3 o'clock. It took them an hour or so before they got anywhere. Well, they started. I remember being wheeled in there like at 3, like could have been like, if I'm not mistaken, 3:18, 3:20 when they wheeled me into the OR. So I'm sitting in there, and they're prepping me or whatever have you. So as he's cutting me open, and he said, "Oh, the baby will be out in a little bit." So I'm sitting there, and I feel him pressing, like he's tugging on something. So I'm like, everything okay down there? And he was like, yeah. He said, she has just gone so far down in your birth canal that now it's hard for me to pull her out because she was way down there. So I'm like, oh, if it's not one thing, it's another. So as I was talking to my husband, he was talking back and forth with me, and he was videotaping the whole thing. So as we're sitting in there, the doctor's still pulling and pulling and pulling. So finally, when they pulled her out, they showed me her out. I was so excited to see her come out. And what was so shocking to me is that she had a head full of hair. And they always say the myth that if you have heartburn, that means your baby will have a lot of hair. Well, I didn't have too much of that problem. So I thought I would have a bald head baby. But that didn't happen. So after the baby came, my husband went over and they were cleaning her up and they brought her over to me. Well, they took her on out and they had to go ahead and stitch me back up. Well, it took them a while to stitch me back up. Come to find out, when the doctor came to talk to me, he told me that being that she was so far down in my birth canal, when they were trying to pull her out, my left fallopian tube ruptured a little. It split. So they had to fix the tube. They had to cut it. And the only problem that I have from that is that one tube is shorter than the other. But it doesn't cause any complications with conceiving a child again. It doesn't cause any problems there. So I'm so grateful for that. Well, after I had come out into recovery, I got into recovery and the baby was there waiting for me. Now, at the hospital I was at, they usually take you to the nursery and have her there. Well, she was in the room waiting for me when I got there. So when I got there, they gave me the baby. And when I said, I asked the nurse, I said, so when did she go to the nursery? And they were like, well, she no longer goes to the nursery. We don't do that unless the baby is sick. She's going to be with you 24/7. So I said, oh, so she's back with me 24/7, huh? They said, yeah, we don't keep babies in the nursery anymore unless they're sick. Now that was a shocker to me, which wouldn't have been so bad if I did not have a C-section, because I know that I wouldn't be able to lift her during the night or to attend to her needs as I should in that much pain. Well, making a long story short, they wheeled us on in the room. The next day, the pain from that epidural is no joke, I tell you. No joke. I had a lot of pain. Not from the epidural, but from the C-section. I thought they usually let you keep your pump overnight for the first day. Well, after the surgery, they took the pump. I no longer had a pump for pain, so I had to ask for pain pills, or they gave me morphine in my IV. So the next day it was a little rough. Well, during the night it was rough because I had to get up to get her every time she cried, to feed her. Thank God my husband was there, to help me, but it was rough. So I stayed in the hospital. That was a Tuesday. I stayed in the hospital that Wednesday, and I went home Thursday morning. So that was my labor and delivery story in a nutshell. It was rough. It was very rough. And if you ask me right now if I do it all over, I say to see my baby girl, yes. But to go through all of that pain I went through, oh no. But now I'm going to show you her. Come here, Mama. This is my little one. This is Imani, Jolicia, and I don't have to give you the last name. This is my Mook Mook. She makes 2 months old today. So she's 2 months today. And when she was born, she was 6 pounds, 7 ounces. And when we went for her first doctor's visit, she was already 7 pounds. It was 2 weeks later after I gave birth that I went to my first appointment. We didn't do the 1 month. We went 2 weeks later, and she was 7 pounds, 7 ounces. So this is Imani. Say hello. Say hello, Imani. Hello. She's so alert. Hello. Hey, Mook Mook. So that wraps up my labor and delivery story, and I'll be back with you to share my postpartum and what's going on with that. So until then, I'll talk to you later, you two. Bye.